Well, hello, wonderful, beautiful roses of the wonderful, beautiful imagination. I'm National Maverick, and welcome to part 3 of What If Kurama was Izuku's mother. In part 3, we will start off with a bang. Basically, I'm going to tell you guys, what kind of scores, basically, everybody got on everything. The main focus is being Tenko, Momo, and Izuku. Now, seeing as Tenko and Momo have the 1 and 2 tail, and Izuku has the frickin' 9 tails chakra flowing through him, I would say that it'd be a fair estimate that whatever Momo's score is in the original, it's basically 10 times that is her score here. Not 10 times, 5 times. I'm going to say 5 times. And Tenko, basically, his score is 5 times out of Izuku's score in canon. And Izuku's score here is 10 times that of his score in canon. Not 5 times, 10 times. Because, the big jump in between, 1 and 2, all the way to 9. I think it would call for a double up, 5 to 10. So basically, Momo's score is 5 times her canon score. Tenko's score is 5 times Izuku's canon score. And Izuku's score in this is basically going to be 10 times his canon score. Yeah. Safe to say no holds barred. And now to get to the real meat and juicy potatoes, of the situation. Time to, chop up some information really, really fast. And slow it down. Basically, we have the Heroes vs. Villains mock battles. Especially, you guys might be wondering, how is everything going to go with this? With frickin' Tenko here, it doesn't exactly seem like an even number, so, well, indeed, I will tell you guys how exactly. Considering the massive freaking leaps and bounds, that amount of score that Izuku just seemed to freaking pull out of his ass with the whole ball throw whenever that happened, basically, considering the uneven number of the classmates, All Might actually decided to be the challenge himself. And that basically putting Izuku on the villain team. And, basically, Izuku didn't mind this because he's pretty sure after everything was said and done, the heroes weren't even going to like him anyways. Like, at least the ones that weren't actually already a part of his thing. So, wait, hold on one second. Hold on one second here. Okay, everyone, I am back. And regardless of whatever I was trying to say before, basically, the way everything is, seeing as it's an uneven number, what would have happened is basically, Izuku along with Ochako. Instead, it's, Tenko with Ochako. And Izuku is having to fight All Might. With Izuku being, the villain team, and All Might being the hero team, which Izuku really doesn't have a problem with because, they're soon going to be seeing him as a villain anyways, considering what he's, trying to do. As soon as they figure out that it is him, that is, if they even manage to figure out, people he doesn't want to figure out. Anyways, basically, how the entire spar goes, the entire whole thing goes, basically, All Might guarding a bomb, and basically, what Izuku does is, as soon as All Might, sees Izuku charge forth, he's about to go for a big ol' smash, Detroit smash. That's whenever a familiar hand motion would be seen, and as soon as Ida would try to say something, a certain someone would come from behind him with a little bit of a present. This present being, well, let's just say it's not a very happy day for Ida. Basically what happens is sand coffin, sand burial. Basically all he does is he just compresses Ida into a big old glob of sand, so he can't say or do anything to warn All Might about what's about to happen. If he tries to charge Izuku while he's doing this, basically that's the cross sign, and it's like, Kagebushin no Jutsu. Freaking monopolize. And all of them just start to spring on All Might, and he just like going through him with his Detroit Smash until it's about to hit the intended target. But there's so much smoke from all the poofing that's being done, and All Might can't really see anything until all of a sudden, all he would hear is Rasengan! Boom! And All Might would just get knocked on his ass. And before All Might could get back up, Izuku would actually use another Shadow Clone. Basically, several Shadow Clones. He summoned a bunch up. Like a good 500. And he at least has enough to create a big ladder that would hoist him up and basically throw him at the bomb where he could touch him. Bing! And it'd be like, villain team wins. And All Might would be like, it's amazing. Skill is impeccable. And Tenko is like, you bet your ass his skill is impeccable. And Momo would be like, oh, she'd just be like, freaking, like, in awe at Izuku's ability to just whoop All Might's ass. And All Might didn't even have any weights on because All Might wasn't actually planning on doing anything. So yeah, he was going up against All Might without the weights. And he Rasengan'd him onto his own ass. Long enough for him to Shadow Clone ladder, like leap onto the explosive and like press the button for him to win. So yeah, basically, seeing as I want to fit a lot of shit into this, like a lot of shit into each part, I'm just gonna say that basically everything will basically go as in canon, except for the whole thing with Ochako instead of Izuku Tenko. But, regardless of that, you would still pretty much go as, usual. And, well, Izuku just constantly getting feedback from his shadow clones. He left at that one big plot of land, like a super huge plot of land. He's constantly getting information about the new recent developments. And, what, the end result will end up looking like and, being like as soon as, we get shit going. And basically, the next thing that happens after the Heroes vs. Villains mock battles is, you guys know what it is. It is the USJ, and All For One is pissed because he lost Shigaraki. And he's basically like so angry that he doesn't even realize some very vital information as to keeping his certain servant loyal to him. Basically what I'm saying here is, right before he basically was going to school, Izuku actually took a different, alternative route to school because he was actually in chakra sense somebody off in the distance, sneaking peeks at him and his, squad, him and his pals. Izuku didn't like that, but whenever he figured out who exactly it was who was doing this, he sprung into action, and just like with Tenko, gave him an ultimatum. Can you guess who it is? If you guessed Kirogiri, then you're right. And like I said, he gave him an ultimatum. And technically, whenever he sprung on Kirogiri, basically while he was in midair, he realized that there was a type of collar thing on him. So he basically put like the most pressure on the collar thing and basically caused it to just go splody. And, well, this making it actually pretty easy for Kirogiri to actually be persuade into a different path than the one he was taking currently. Yeah, so this is twice now that Izuku's, swerved someone off the path of villainy. Basically, he mulls things over with Kirogiri about the whole benefits of chakra and, the ninja arts. He even tells him that he might actually know a good position for him in, whatever all of the whole, Biju country, everything. The Hero Village. Well, Kirigiri is, listening. He's like, yes, please go on. What exactly is this proposition? He's gonna be like, I got a proposition for you, man. seem to be done pretty damn dirty. You know, the way I see it, there are two different councils that I would have. A Shinobi Council and a Civilian Council. 5 members each, to make sure that the balance of power doesn't sway to one side or another. Of course, my word will indeed be law, but that's where the balance is pretty much, set in stone. The balance with there only being 5 civilian council members and only 5 Shinobi council members, and me also having an advisor to help me mull over stuff, making it actually nigh impossible for corruption to be spread afoot. That is, unless there were any spies about. And you, sir, from the looks of you, you seem like a good candidate for the Shinobi Council. You know? If we can get some things fixed, you could indeed be instated in the Shinobi Council as, and indeed, a head of the council. There would be 5 heads of the council, and you would be one of them. I would indeed say the 5th head of the Shinobi Council. As for the other heads of the Shinobi Council, I already have 2 ideas that spring up to my mind automatically, or did before I decided to act on, my instincts and just go up and ask. Now, considering how these people's lives were up until I made my little proposition to them, they gladly decided to join. Natsuno Todoroki, the 1st head, and Fuyumi Todoroki, the 3rd head. Considering a certain someone is a certain follower type of another, I just had to find one in order to get the other to come out. That spinner guy wasn't going to hide for much longer if I managed to draw out Stain. Stain and Spinner both seem like very exciting prospects. Indeed. I was able to actually get things going in the right direction. Indeed. Spinner, my 2nd head, and Stain, my 4th head. So it goes in this order: Natsuo, Spinner, Fuyumi, Stain, and you, Hirogiri. My latest addition to the Shinobi Council. I feel honored, to be honest. I mean, even after what I was going to do, and you gave me this opportunity. Of course, I still feel sore, like incredibly sore, but I can tell that can't be helped. And Izuku would just be like, well, now what are you gonna do, all for one? Looks like you just lost a 2nd piece. And I'm going for checkmate. And basically, after Kirigiri hears Izuku say that, then he's basically like, then you might also want to know about a certain Dr. Ujiko. And Izuku would be like, well, once you're done with the training regimens, you can deal with him yourself. I'm sure any connections that you two might have had in the past would make him unassuming enough. That's exactly pretty much what happens, you know? After pretty much getting knowledgeified by Izuku, Kirigiri basically gets everything down pretty pat. I mean, he's a Nomu, for Christ's sake. So, they're pretty, supreme. And so, Kirigiri learns this stuff a lot, like, very fast. And, just pulls up on freaking Dr. Ujiko, and surprising pretty much anyone who, doesn't know about the 5 different chakra natures, affinities. He pulls some of this shit. Dr. Ujiko would be like, what are you doing, Kirigiri? And Kirigiri would just be like, putting an end to this madness. Or at least helping in doing so. Can you hear it? It sounds like chirping birds now, doesn't it? 1,000 birds! Yeah, frickin' Raikiri. You learned frickin' Raikiri. Kakashi's jutsu. Well, basically, yeah. He basically just takes Dr. Ujiko out. And, well, whenever it comes to dealing with the rest of the Nomu, well, then this happens. Like ridiculous amount of hand signs, really fast. This is it. Cut 10. Basically, yeah. Kirigiri would just be like, cut 10. Great fireball. And just like, hey, burn the entire lab, causing a giant explosion that Kirigiri would just warp from. Yeah, he not only freaking Raikiri'd Dr. Ujiko, but he freaking exploded, with Great Fireball Jutsu, all the freaking Nomus that were in the midst of being, made. So yeah, there goes All For One's arsenal down the toilet. Kirigiri will just report back to Izuku and be like, the job is done. And Izuku's like, I knew I could count on a member of the Shinobi Council. And basically, it'll be like, now for the Civilian Council. Let me check my list. Well, considering everything that happened with Stain and Spinner, I basically saved Ingenium's ass. Ingenium was overjoyed to, become a part of the council. And to deal with the big three, while Mirio wasn't exactly as enthusiastic, it didn't really matter. Besides, I nailed him with a chakra fist, being such a plebe. So Nejire and Tamaki. And leave it to the parents of someone, from my past, to really not exactly like the idea of being left out. Both Aunt Mitsuki and her husband decided that they would rather join the civilian council than be left out of something that their son was let in due to certain people not being able to keep their mouths shut. I had to kind of foreclose some information. So basically, what I can tell you now, Kirogiri, man, whoa. Nice. I'll tell you, Kirogiri. I'll tell you. It's me, Shield, Momo, Tango, Gran Torino, Miss Joke, Shota Zawa. And then there is the Anbu Royal Guard as Gran Torino, Miss Joke, and Shota Zawa would have been the village elders. The Anbu Royal Guard, Melissa Shield, codenamed Beetle, Shota Todoroki, codenamed Wolf, Ejiro Kirishima, codenamed Dragon, Himiko Toga, codenamed Hyena. And if you're gonna ask me about the whole thing with Toga, well, how do you think I got her, with us? The same way with Kenko and you. I just saw a problem, and I fixed the problem. And, she has been working pretty darn good. Whatever, was wrong with her in the past has now been completely vacated due to my certain abilities with the power of the Kurama chakra. Anyways, and then there's the Hirogakure and Blue, just the normal ones. Midnight, codename Frog. Fumakage Tokuyami, codename Corvid. Mandalay, codename Lioness. Katsuki Bakugo, codename Tiger. And you may be wondering why I would let Bakugo in as one of us. Well, despite certain things about him, I do indeed admit I know talent whenever I see it. He's got that in spades. Just in all the wrong spades. That is, unless someone could teach him how to actually, do anything better. Basically, yes. Midnight, codename Frog, Fumikage Tokuyami, codename Corvid. Mandalay, codename Lioness. Katsuki Bakugo, codename Tiger. The advisor to the Hirokage, Kenko Shimura. And the Biju Daimyo, Momoyorozu. And the wife of the Shodaime Hirokage, well, she seems to really want to, she seems to really like the idea. So, I really don't see any problem with it. But that's just the thing. She's a part of the Ambu Royal Guard as well. Almost like it isn't enough to just be the wife of the Kage. Or at least the soon-to-be wife. Soon enough. Wait, you're telling me that Miss Melissa Shield, she wants to be my wife, yes. You could say she's very into me. But, I've been working up courage as much as I possibly can, and I don't seem to be affected by women the same way I have been before. I think this whole village, not just village but country thing, has been affecting me, but not exactly in a wrong way. And basically, you know me, the Hirokage. Not just any Hirokage, the Shodaime Hirokage. Well, considering I looked at UA's schedule earlier today, basically realized there's going to be a field trip to the USJ. And considering how pissed off one is right now, he's probably going to show up in the flesh to try to kill everyone. Emphasis on the word try. Because I pretty much warned pretty much everyone involved with the village, and even the country in general, because of possible warning signs that Shiketsu, where Miss Joke teaches, could also be a possible target in the future or even before the USJ attack. Regardless, I make sure to inform everyone who's a part of this about the whole, shit hitting the fan. Oh, yes, that does indeed seem to be a problem. And his ability to remove quirks. Kirigiri, you already know by now, or at least you should already know by now. You should already know by now that quirks won't matter, and swing of things, because of the power of chakra. Chakra allows us to be far more flexible with the power that we have inside of us. Sure, maybe not like all of the populace wants to admit it, but in a battle against, which one is the greater power, chakra wins out over quirks, hands down. End of discussion. And you know that. Or at least, like I said, you should. Yes, indeed. I am very aware. After everything. So, you said that you basically informed everyone that's already involved about what you know is going to happen. Then what's with the lax nature of everything around us? That's simple, Kirigiri. Oh, it's so simple. After seeing me basically Rasengan All Might on his ass, people are beginning to feel less afraid of All For One's, threat towards, everything. Considering the power of chakra and how he can't exactly take it away from me, let's just say there's a lot less stress on scurrying around like, chickens with their heads cut off. So basically, all I'm saying is if All For One tries to come around here and, screw around, he's going to die. No buts. Besides, the public is probably pretty much going to think badly enough, about me whenever it eventually is revealed what my role is in pretty much everything up to this point. They'll probably think bad of me enough. So, why give a shit? Let's live life to the fullest, and regardless of what anyone else says, actually live that life. We are Biju country. We are strong. We can do this, even if it means war. And I hate to say that, but it's true. Even if it means war, we will get out of this alive. How exactly are you so sure of that? How can you be so sure of that? How can I be so sure of it? Well, as a shinobi force is now, you wouldn't think there would be too many members. Well, that's if you're only looking at face value for certain important positions. But overall, with the military force of everything, I had to dig deep down dirty. And eventually I was able to, come across something quite interesting. The body of a dead old man apparently died of old age. And some guy trying to pass himself off as the father of some little girl. However, I basically stated to him that if he dropped the shit and just came with me, along with the girl he had with him, we could fix things. And not just the two of them come, but the rest of pretty much everyone there that wasn't already dead. And so, I think you're beginning to know who I'm talking about. Kaijisaki, Girl Eri, and the Yakuza. The rest of the Yakuza. Each and every last member. Now knowing how to use chakra, maybe not to the fullest extent, but definitely have at least some mastery over it. They are the shinobi force, and Kaijisaki, the general. Eri basically is going to be mine and Melissa's daughter, with Kaijisaki, also known as Overhaul, basically not only serving as the general, but as a sort of uncle figure. Is the basic agreement we've made. Kaijisaki, not exactly being an idiot, he did indeed know about what happened whenever All Might tried to 100% smash me. Not exactly 100%, but pretty close. Thinking, about my abilities and how much you'd actually have to use in order to actually take me out. But that's not going to be happening anytime soon. With the shinobi force that I've pretty much gathered up, and everybody else, the Yambu also being known as the Inferno Squad, there's going to be hell to pay for anyone who thinks they can just pull up on us and snuff us out. Biju country will prevail. And I'll even give leaders of the country of Japan an ultimatum in itself. Ally with us or not, you can either ally with us or just leave us alone. If If you don't want to be allies, it's fine. Just leave us alone. But if you still continue your bullshit, we will end you. Trust me, you do not want to see what happens whenever Bijus run amok. And that's coming from a guy who basically got permission from David Shield himself. Someone who said basically that he was going to find a way to attach Island to that of what is already existing of our country. To basically give it all that it would ever need in order to purely flourish off of the best that there is that Island can offer. David Shield, at least that he asks, is that, well, he be allowed lessons to help with his own chakra so that he may actually make it to the rank proper, the Jonin rank. So he could be a Jonin sensei of Melissa before she got to cray with everything. And it's been a while since all of those things have gone down. And so, David Shield is already a Jonin in my ranks. And Melissa is a truly powerful shinobi. With her own tail beast to boot. Tail beast Chome, the Seven Tails. She is its Jinchuriki. My friend Momo is the Jinchuriki of the the Two Tails. Naratabi. Basically a two-tailed cat, Naratabi. And my advisor, basically Momo being the daimyo, and my advisor, Tanko, basically being the Jinchuriki of the one-tail Shikaku, the sand spirit, Tanuki. Or as my mother calls him, Mutated Raccoon. So, what you're saying is, it's almost time. Hirogiri claps for you. As soon as shit hits the fan, not only will we slay off one in front of everyone, pretty much, and present his dome head ass as an example. But if they want to go even further, if they want to push even farther after that, that is whenever the war will begin. The first ever Shinobi World War. This reality. The first great ninja war of this reality. This reality's first ever great ninja war. Great Shinobi War. And knowing the way people react to certain changes, well, the way that they can be sometimes, it's bound to happen. Anyways, I guess off to the freaking races then. Hey, Kirigiri? Yes, sir. I'll be off now. And he would just shun out of anything, basically. While, Izuku and Kirigiri were just discussing how they were going to, introduce themselves to the entire world. Like, as a new freaking great nation. Freaking Biju country. As a supreme power of the world. And a great nation of shinobi heroes. Yeah, basically, Izuku could already tell the writing was on the wall. Alphone was gonna be a dick, and so Alphone was gonna get his ass killed. And then they would present the head of All For One, and then knowing how people are and how the hero society is, they would make the stupid assumption that they could defeat them. And that's whenever war would indeed break out. As if they could even get past the giant cyclone around the entire freaking, great nation, country. Biju country. If they could even make it past the cyclone. And, well, basically, Izuku himself will get on the bus with everybody else. And, those that indeed were already aware of the plan, that were 1A students, would all be conversing with the very hero Kage himself about. Basically, Bakugo would be like, "Hey, Deku. Well, yeah, I'm gonna call you Deku still because you're not yet the hero Kage before you say anything." And basically, Mizuku's like, "Yeah, well, once I am hero Kage, you will have to refer to me as such." And Bakugo's like, "Don't remind me." It's just like, don't remind me. Anyways. Izuku just realized the mask off to Bakugo's side. And now he's concealing it from everybody else. And how the other members of the Anbu and even the Anbu Royal Guard are doing the exact same with their masks. And he's like, oh, so they already know. Bakugo even has a good idea. Bakugo would just be like, so when exactly is this all gonna go down? And, Izuku would just be like, when and if they still continue to be ignorant after we've presented All For One's head. yeah, well, what exactly are we gonna do with the body? And Izuku will be like, your other name is indeed the Inferno Squad for a reason. You do know that, Tiger. And Bakugo would be like, yeah, that's right. Inferno Squadron. Find the body. Well, find the person, kill the person, burn the body. Make sure the secrets of the great nation are not allowed to leave said great nation. And you know how I feel about explosive power. I can't wait to be able to test it out. And before you ask, I did indeed try the mask on beforehand. Don't worry, I will not be wearing it on upside down or strapping it on too tight. I have experience with this. You know, my parents are also wanting to join in, not as Anbu members, but as members of the Civilian Council. And, you know, Izuku would just be like, exactly, I keep tabs on everything. Remember? And, you know, Bakugo would be like, oh yeah, well, what exactly are your tabs on the design for the headbands of the Shinobi forces? You know, anytime anyone graduates to the Genin or above, the headband's supposed to be given. What exactly is your plan for the whole design deal whenever it comes to that? And Izuku will just be like, you asked the most intriguing of questions. And interesting ones as well. Well, considering the 8 tetragram seal was something that was indeed used to seal my mother's third container inside of a boy named Naruto, the tetragram seal design will indeed be imbued, basically pretty much embedded as like a marking into the headbands. And Bakugo would be like, sweet. A tetragram seal design. To show that we mean it whenever we say Biju country. I have to admit, that's pretty clever. I wouldn't have even thought of myself, the tetragram seal, as a headband design. Now we just wait for 13 to give her spill. Remember, Bakugo, we rehearsed this. Oh, how can I forget how much we rehearsed? As I would look at Bakugo putting on his tiger mask. And well, the Hero 13 wouldn't know really what was going on and why several people were putting on masks. As I would be like, it was a interesting request brought up by a certain someone that kind of, you know, made a little bit of a change to dress code. Yeah, as I was lying out of his ass, and 13 has no idea. So yeah, 13 is kind of just forced into this situation. And well, seeing as Kirogiri is indeed a part of the Shinobi Council, you know, he can still do Shinobi duties. And one of those duties is indeed still ending up being the one responsible for 13's misfortune. But not because working for the villains, no, because holy shitness. Like, if 13 were to witness some of the shit here, it would probably be an early warning sign for the heroes what exactly is going to happen next. And basically, everyone's kind of mixed and mingled about the whole thing, about the idea of a possible, chance of that happening. The fact of Kirigiri's warp quirk and how he's kind of been using that to create his own variation of the body flicker, or Shunshin. Yeah, basically, Kirigiri's a mean mofo. And whenever considering the whole thing about, shinobi powers, basically, what ends up happening is, who said that just because she's a space hero means that she can survive being boiled? Because I believe it's water and fire which creates boiled release. Which technically, whenever you look at the design of Kirigiri, I mean, he is literally a smoky dude. And, well, I mean, come on. I just think it would be fun to have, Kirigiri be able to perform boil release. So, have him, you guys can decide which one he has a major or minor affinity for out of the two, fire and water. Because, that's kind of needed for boil release. Basically, Kirigiri would just pop up in front of 13 and be like, boil release, and mounted chasm. And, basically, you'd basically just be like, mounted chasm dissolve. Yes, mounted chasm dissolve. And basically, we'll just boil 13 away. And that's whenever shit would go awry, as All For One would think that, oh, Kirigiri has never really betrayed me. He was just infiltrating without my direct order, but hey, he's still infiltrating. It's fine, it's just All For One being a dumbass. Thinking that, because of the fact that Kirigiri killed a hero, that means he's not actually betrayed me. For one, you poor fool. How wrong you are. Kirigiri just demonstrating how wrong, whenever he basically just body flicker, his own special version that incorporates Izuku's quirk into the body flicker, making his ability to disappear and reappear even faster. So I guess you could indeed, call this a Kirigiri-style body flicker. And basically, you would just end up behind All For One, and you would just be like, you would just hear, and All For One would just be like, why is there a hole in my everything? And he would just get down on his knees and start coughing up blood in his own little, freaking, head tank. And, Izuku would just shun behind All For One and grab onto the little head tank and rip it off. And, seeing as it was attached to the head, kind of, just Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero fatality to his ass. And, basically, anyone who actually wasn't a part of the whole, thing that they dubbed Project Biju Country, is they basically actually dubbed it Project Biju Country. Anyone who wasn't a part of that would actually indeed be surprised, And the rest would be like, oh, the plan's actually getting kicked into fruition. Now we show this to everybody and see what the reaction is. You know, just like tempting fate. You know, just like right there, tempting fate. And, you know, the exact thing, you know, happens. You know, with all of the people wearing the masks being around Izuku as he does this and proclaims to the world that Izuku Midoriya, is indeed the Shodime, the Shodime Hirokage, alongside certain someone, and he would just pull Momo over, and also pull Shinaraki over, and Melissa would have even arrived on time with David not too far behind. And Melissa would even get over there and be like, with not only my wife-to-be, but also the help of my advisor and the daimyo herself, the Biju daimyo. Basically, you know, Izuku would be exclaiming this with pride. He would be just so damn embraced. As until he actually does, you know, figure out, you know, about the whole, you know, like, it's almost like he could, like, predict that this was going to happen. Very negative response. I mean, like, people are glad that Awful One's gone, but, you know, heroes aren't supposed to kill and all. You know, that whole shit. Basically, yeah. If you guys are gonna ask, you know, because how I mentioned how, you know, David wanted to become Jonin so that he could, you know, special train Melissa, what exactly the vests look like. They're basically the Konoha vests, except for instead of the Uzumaki design, there is a design of an 8 tetragram seal. Basically, that's the only real difference. And also, I gave some little shoulder things to the side would indeed be engraved into them the kanji for Biju. And, well, yeah, that's basically what the Jonin vest would look like. Basically the hidden leaf, except for, you know, instead of the Uzumaki symbol, it's the 8 tetragram symbol thing. And basically, the shoulder things would indeed have, well, the kanji for Biju engraved in them. And, well, basically, the symbol on the headband being that of the 8 tetragram seal, you know, representing that they are from basically. What was my train of thought again? basically, awaiting the orders of the Hirokage, basically, to attack. However, instead of having any order to attack, they're basically just giving an order like, we need to split. Like get that shit out of here. Return back to Biju country. So we will have the home field advantage. Not only that, but the high ground advantage. Because a little something special about, living where they live. They not only have a home field advantage, but a high ground advantage. Because of the way, certain things are made. So they not only have a home field, but they got the high ground as well. And if Obi-Wan has taught us anything, it's if you have the high ground, you win. Like, it may not be in the most civilized of ways, but you do indeed win. Ooh, and McGregor, you pure soul. Basically, the heroes, the police force, and just any random ass Joe do indeed employ themselves to go over to try to attack. But, remember Giant Water Cyclone? Yeah. They're basically going to have to send in an air force to, drop everybody. And actually, a couple heroes, here and there and everywhere, do indeed get sucked into the freaking water vortex and just die. Like, it's their fault. Like, Izuku and everybody is like, it's their fault. They're the ones stupid enough to actually try that. Oh, and don't think Izuku would just leave his mother. She's brought as well. But, she is more or less treated as his mother, and just that. But, Kurama isn't really asking for the special treatment. Just glad to know that she will not be taken from her baby boy any longer. Shodan Hirokage or not, she is just glad that he will not be taken from her. She will not be taken from him. They can finally be back together. After however long it took to move everybody to frickin' Biju country and actually, make the, actual, venture there. But, they'll have no fury like karma. The kind of karma I'm talking about is the karma of the people that actually are trying to ruin this for all of them. They just want to have their own damn lives. And you guys are taking it way too far. I mean, they even killed All for One for you. So, yeah, basically just gift wrapped you something special, and you're just gonna be dicks. So, yeah, karma on them. It just so happens, well, they weren't, Izuku wasn't shitting Hirogiri whenever he said the Yakuza were employed, basically, as part of the Shinobi Defense Force. And so it is just an all knockout, drag out, freaking shit. But, unlike what you would probably think, the heroes, they only have their quirks. But the Yakuza members, they have, different shit, several different members of the Yakuza can have, one type of affinity, and like others could have like a different affinity. So yeah, basically it is not just quantity but quality as well because of the mass scale of these powers. And, Izuku himself isn't even afraid to go out there and fight for his village. His battle armor that he actually put on, for this special occasion, would indeed be in resemblance to that of Hiruzen's whenever he was fighting Orochimaru. Yeah. And Izuku, well, we'll just go out there and destroy everyone. Like, it would be like Madara whenever he was fighting the Shinobi Alliance and just like kicking everyone's ass. Like, there would be no actual victor. Like, he would have just completely obliterated their forces down to shit. And whenever it actually gets time to get serious, enough playing around, Melissa, being the captain of the head, like, will guard Anbu, basically be like, enough playing around! Mm-hmm. Release! And basically, like, whenever she would say release, basically, guess who else would say release? Momo and Tenko would both say release. Like, release! And guess what Momo, Tenko, and Melissa all have in common, and that's what if? They are Jinchuriki. Yes. Shikaku, Hanatani, and Chome. All just sicking like themselves on these people. Like, they don't even know what the hell's going on. Like, what is it? Just freaking kaiju battle all of a sudden? The only saving grace would seem to be we all might, like, getting into the battle. But that's whenever it would just be like 3 Bijudamas. And they would just shoot the Bijudamas out. And when they would form one really big one. As they were rotating around each other. And All Might would just be like, 100% smash! And you'd just be like, as soon as like the fists touch the bomb, like, be like, boosh, like, and All Might would just exclaim, now to go beyond, plus Ultra! Yes, he would be like, plus Ultra. And that's basically whenever Izuku would just be like, now! He would literally exclaim, now! And basically what would happen next is what you would hear, basically. Oh, basically, Tenko as Shikaku, basically, Shikaku would exclaim, wind style, wind bullet, shoot out a wind bullet, and Naruto would be like, fire style. Destroyer flame, like majestic destroyer flame. Yeah, Madara's fire and freaking just a wind bullet, a giant wind bullet. The wind, amplifying the fire. And basically just this huge ass giant, blast of fire the size of a freaking skyscraper coming at All Might. Fighting against his Smash as Plus Ultra. And he would just get engulfed. But then one other thing he would see is basically, he would see, because Melissa would want to play too, she would basically just cover her body in chakras so that the actual jutsu doesn't actually hurt her. Just like armor clad herself in chakra as Chome. Basically have Chome fly right into this freaking fiery explosion and cancel out Plus Ultra completely by smacking into All Might. And just exploding automatically. It was like boom! Triple Jinchuriki Thunderbolts. Like Triple Jinchuriki Rage Thunderbolt Jutsu. Yes, Triple Jinchuriki Rage Thunderbolt Jutsu. And basically, Tenko and Momo would revert back to their normal selves. And it'd be like, did it work? And then basically you would just hear a voice say, "Oh, you bet your sorry asses it worked." Hell yeah! Melissa would just be like, "Yeah, hell yeah." And well, with the defeat of All Might, Mirio wouldn't he try to attack Melissa from behind? But that's basically whenever every single last member of not only the Anbu Royal Guard, but just the Anbu in general, would attack Mirio at once, killing him instantly. Like, he wouldn't have even seen them, and they would have just sliced him to ribbons. All just to protect, their captain. Because she isn't just the captain. She is the literal wife of the Shodime Hirokage. And, thus, the village would finally be finalized and everything. And, the entire country would be finalized and everything. Basically, everybody would have to admit, that they were basically defeated. The entire other side would have to basically admit defeat. And, try to get the frick out of there. And so, yeah. Basically, life would be good. It wouldn't be too long till finally Izuku had hit the age of 18 along with his other classmates that had decided to join the village. They would be 18 too, because, they would all have been 15, so. And basically, whenever Izuku would hit the age of 18, he would basically be like, this would be the day. This would be the day. His 18th birthday would be the day where the Shodime Hirokage Izuku Hibino Yoko Midoriya smashed that Melissa shield. And basically made her his. And, as a result from that, well, basically, Izuku would get told the result, And then he would go over to tell his mother the result. Mom, you will never believe this. And, and Kurama would just be in the midst of preparing dinner, like, slice, 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 never believe what? Honey? And Izuku would just be like, well, I'll never believe Melissa is pregnant. I'm going to not only be the Kage of this village, but a father as well. And considering the time that has passed, I already have my eyes on potential candidates for the Nandami, Hero Kage, for whenever I finally either retire or die. Hopefully retire, because of the whole family thing. And, Kurama, while indeed freaking dumbstruck by this freaking news, but also the other news, she'd be like, who are the candidates? Basically, it happened been like, Izuku being 15, that would basically mean that 3 years would have basically passed. Because 5 plus 3 equals 8. Basic math. That I'm still not all that good at. It's not really like plus or times. It's minus and division that kick my ass. Yeah, basically, what happened is basically Izuku would tell her that, well, it turns out, indeed, he had basically made himself his own little team of Sanin for this own village. It would be known as the Hero Sanin. And, well, the 3 different, basically the Hero Sanin, well, basically, Izuku does indeed admit, unlike the Sanin of before, where it was 3, the Sanin of this would indeed only be 2. Though they're still very legendary in their own right, given the correct training and all. And these 2 being Well, eventually, Koda, considering Mandalay is indeed a part of the village, Koda would be allowed to be a part of the village. It is indeed Mandalay, his mother figure, who is a part of the village, so basically, sort of like a thing. They've been getting, expert teachings from a certain someone. Basically, that is until she found out she was pregnant. That's basically, as soon as she found that out, she basically stopped teaching them. But, it's kind of incentive for them to learn their own way. And continue growing, as their own masters, their own senseis. And the two that would be doing this, the children of prophecy for the next generation, being Eri and Koda. Yes, both Eri and Koda, seeing as it's been 3 years, have indeed decided to take up the mantle of possible shinobi. And actually, looking towards the goals that come with. And Izuku had actually, indeed, asked Eri and Koda why they, basically, what exactly their goals were, for, doing this whole thing. What the whole goal, end goal was for the both of them. And, well, the answers were indeed surprising, to say the least. Considering, Izuku wouldn't exactly like to be quiet from the people that he cares about the most. So, indeed, Koda and Eri had both heard about how this one Jiraiya guy apparently had his own spy network. And that it did indeed provide useful information for the people of the Leaf Village. And, well, that gave Koda an idea of becoming a sort of Sanin-like figure so that he could, sprout his own spy network. Of course, it would take some work, to actually get that, skills to be anything like Jiraiya. Koda even tells Izuku that, well, someone like Jiraiya who died the way he did, died a truly gallant man, a truly, inspirational person, a light in the darkness for the child of prophecy of their world, the true child of prophecy, a truly gallant man, a truly, indeed, well, some words just fail to, calculate exactly out what Jiraiya meant to a lot of people in his life. And, well, Koda says that it inspired him to, take up this training and all, because he wanted to become like a Sanin-like figure, because Jiraiya was a Sanin, And Jiraiya was a very inspiring, source for why Koda wants to even do this to begin with. Because of the story of what was told of Jiraiya's life and everything. And how he died, basically how he lived, and, well, basically happened within that lifetime. Koda, indeed, while weirded out by the pervy stuff, does indeed still feel inspired by Jiraiya. I mean, how can you not feel inspired whenever someone like Jiraiya exists? And, well, then it would be time for Aries' reason for why she's doing this. The title of Sannin. The two rival Sannins. Now it's time to hear out her reason. And her reason is that, while indeed she will still hold the title of whatever she has done at her time as a Sannin, whenever she gets to that point, one day she will want to go even further. Because, well, it has indeed been spoken about a lot. How, well, they might possibly be in need of a Nidaime Hirokage in the future. Because, Izuku isn't going to live forever. And Izuku knows that. He could die any day. And the village would be left without a Kage to support it. So, whether she becomes the Nidaime or the Sandaime Hokage, whichever in her lifetime she gets to, she does indeed promise that she will get to at least one. She will at least be the Kage within her lifetime. The Hirokage. At least one, position. Like, whether it be Nidaime, Sandaime, Yandaime, Goddaime, whichever one. She does indeed pledge that she will get to the position of Sannin so that she will one day be able to soar even above that of Sannin. With the Will of Fire, just as much as Koda has the Will of Fire, and she will expand upon it all the way until she finally does get the position of the Kage. Because, Eri actually freely admits, Lord First, you don't really have to explain to us about the whole Will of Fire and what exactly it means to be, you're a Kage of this village. We already know. And that inspires me. I wish to be, one day, Hirokage of this village. However long it takes, I will eventually rise above the status of Sannin. And then, once that happens, I will be Kage of that generation. And this will just warm not Naruto, Izuku. This will just warm Izuku's freaking soul. Like, this girl is determined to be the freaking Hirokage, of at least one generation within her lifetime. And so, yeah. Indeed, while there may not be three of them, there are indeed the Sannin duo of Hirogakure. Yes. the Sanin duo of the Hirogakure. Of, the land of Biju. And, well, with reasons like the ones that Koda and Eri have for wanting to gain the position of Sanin, Izuku couldn't be happier than to actually even know that, he is going to have a child with Melissa. I mean, that makes him even happier, but, he's already on Cloud 9 as it is, whenever considering, the whole thing about kid, or kids, possibly. Good thing it's just a kid. And, well, considering it is indeed a name that was used for his mother, back whenever it was the whole village deal, it was indeed a nickname used for her. Well, indeed, Melissa and Izuku will indeed have a baby boy. And, well, Melissa, seeing as her hubby is indeed the Kage of the village, feels that he should have the honors of getting to name the little squirt. And he's like, well, this was a nickname that mother was given. Well, why not? It's even part of my middle name. Kyubi. Yes, Kyubi. Basically the kid's name. And because of the fact that Kyubi no Yoko is kind of Izuku's middle name, it basically changed around to where, it would basically be Kyubi, Shield, Midoriya. Yeah, they would kind of get rid of the Kyubi no Yoko part. That would have just been a thing for before. Now that the kid's name is actually Kyubi, not Kyubi no Kitsu, not Kyubi no Yoko, just Kyubi. And they're just really happy. They even realized several features about their son. Those features, well, his hair was like that of his father. And, the way of style. But in the way of color, what would be weird is that he would have white hair. Or at least a very faded blonde. Like, kind of in between, like, white and a very faded blonde color. And his eyes would be the sapphire blue of the previous container of his mother. That at Naruto Uzumaki. Those sapphire blue eyes is basically sort of a nostalgia trip that kind of, just brought Kurama to tears, remembering about everything that like basically her and Naruto had went through. Basically, like what would be said is, basically as Melissa was indeed getting her rest, what would indeed be said whenever finally Izuku would get to hold the child is, well, you're a special one, aren't you? Finally realizing the 3 whisker marks on the side of each, face. Like 3 whisker marks here, 3 whisker marks here. Like the thing with Naruto. And, Izuku would be like, you're a unique little thing, aren't you? You're not just a thing. You're my son. Mine and your mother's son. And actually, whenever it comes to these things, it actually helps to be prepared. Seeing as I have certain powers, just kind of set Kyuubi in his little crib, and we'll just start vibrating the hands like this, and be like, creation of all things jutsu. And he would just create, for Kyuubi, an orange fox plushie. And, well, Kyuubi basically fall in love ever since laying eyes upon, this little fox plushie. And, at this point, Kurama would just be like, oh my god, this is adorable. And then Izuku would basically proceed to just, wow, basically picking up his kid who has the fox plushie in his hands, basically start to sing, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, basically that. And, just end with Izuku saying to his little Kyuubi, I love you always, my son. Then, no matter what anyone says, you are always loved. My son. My Kyuubi. And that is where this part is going to end off. With the ultimate punch to the heartstrings of a lot of people probably. Because, if that was made into a movie, I'd be crying probably. Just damn. So, yeah, basically. I'm not even done. So, yeah. Anyways, now let's see how doses Action of Maverick and and I'm out of here.